DRV. The two ones that are September 20.
Yeah. So let's go. This is the biggie, the RTUs.
Yeah, 18th.
Arrival date October 18th. And so then it's, you know, I think at this point, Steve, it's just a waiting game to verify that that's going to happen.
Yeah, as they get closer, they get more information from the distributor to nail down exactly what date it's on the truck. And start tracking it to the job.
Is that the on the truck date or the delivery date?
That's on the truck date, ship date.
What items?
On this schedule here, this is his estimated arrival date.
Okay.
Yeah.
So October 18th is the estimated arrival.
Right.
It's coming from where?
I believe these are coming from Iowa.
Iowa, so that's 3 days.
Yeah.
And then it's on to the staging site.
Yeah, so it goes to his rigger. They get him ready, and then once he knows we're on the road, we'll schedule a crane date, coordinate with everyone. Get him to the rigger, get him ready, and then get him up on the boat.
This looks pretty much the same as what we talked about last month. If there have been any.
There hasn't been any change on that, other than the letter that I included that John Lucier sent regarding, you know, the supply chain and that kind of thing. I will say that it was at the school committee last night, it was pretty adamant, emphatic that, you know, the final picks or any picks after school's in session should probably be happening on the weekends for safety reasons, obviously. And that really, you know, assuming the schedule holds true, you know, the focus for certainly the administration in the room and the school committee members in the room, but also just all of us as stakeholders, you know, is just that opening day for schools. And I've been trying to ask at the owners meetings and then, you know, for the building committee, because you guys are the ones who are out in the community and people might know you're on this and they want to know, hey, what is opening day going to look like for the kids? You know, what's the plan? You know, and at the high school, there's going to be roughly 1,000 bodies in there. And how do you navigate the activity and 1,000 bodies?
What is do we know what hold is on these? I mean, steel's readily available, metals are readily available. I can pretty much get any metal I want in 3 days. What's holding this thing up?
Just a manufacturing issue. I mean, I will say when it does come to metal, and I'm not saying that's the issue with these units. Metal is in a very difficult place right now, especially metal lockers and so forth. But the manufacturer with a lot of places, we're experiencing issues with labor force at the factories, to getting raw materials to build the units to get them out, get them out of the holding pattern. We're seeing that across the board of many different trades and aspects of materials and equipment, not just rooftop units and that. It's not just train or anything like that. Today I received a bulk load of metal studs for a project we've been waiting for 20 days. Metal studs to put partitions up. That's unheard of. That's, you know, that was something you ordered today and the truck's there tomorrow. Kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's again, I work for a big machine shop. We don't have any trouble getting, unless you're starting getting into the exotics, like the titaniums. Yeah. Getting them materials is a big deal.
In the construction industry right now, getting materials is big. Give me that.
Getting used to it. It's not a chip issue, is it? Computer chip?
I don't believe so.
Because I mean, these are somewhat smart.
Oh yeah. Full of motherboards.
Right. I'm wondering if that's what's really the. So you're confident that they will be here by the 18th?
Well, from the information that the manufacturer is giving the contractor right now, yes.
Okay. was the date these were ordered?
Got it out here.
Yeah, I know, I just can't read it from here. I forget. May 27th. So realistically, even standard lead times for these things run 12 to 14 weeks. So they're not going too far
It's not-
beyond that.
It's not crazy. And the other thing we're waiting for, you'll notice on here, and I'm not sure, Bob, if this was here last time. I'm trying to recall, but the water heaters are due in at the end of the month. There's new water heaters for the project. So there's an electric water heater on site that's already been tied into the kitchen.
Yep.
For use there, and so there should be an issue with that. As soon as those land, will be installed and we'll get working on those to get it running.
Yeah, we ran the hot water the other day in the kitchen. We have a booster pump on the dishwasher, so.
Right. It gets you up to whatever your 160 is or whatever it is.
And that looks like it's coming out of wet. Is this the item here, Steve? I got it highlighted in the gray. The box water heaters,
Yes.
Yes.
expansion tank also goes with that, Steve.
Yeah, and that oil pump as well.
Yeah, all the fittings are all, they piped in the oil and everything already.
Yeah, he's
They're
ready
all
to
ready
go.
to hook it up. They just
Yeah.
gotta get them in.
So when those RTUs shipped, right? Or the units?
The RTUs from Train have not. He's got other equipment that's already there. Inside, he's got the cassette units that go in the classrooms. I believe there's 16 of them. He's already got those installed. He's working on getting those up and running.
Okay, because it says RTU number 1 is shipped. That I remember seeing in the notes yesterday.
Right.
So is that we're gonna get installed ahead of time, or are we gonna sit here and wait until they're all ready to go on the roof?
I don't know where that one resides. It may be it may be in their yard. I haven't seen it on site, and I've been up on the roof. I haven't seen it up there. I've only seen the Mitsubishis up there. But we can get clarification.
Yeah, we'll check on that.
Yeah, it's not at the school.
Well, I'm just saying though, that there's one, if one has truly shipped and one can be put in, that's one less thing we have
Yeah,
to
no,
worry.
we have to get a crane there for one unit.
That's not my headache right now. You wait till mid-October comes and, you
I
know,
already know.
we start screaming.
I'm the
Piggy.
one that they're gonna be yelling at. I
Yeah.
know. You don't have to tell me. I'm aware.
Well, I think there's a crane scheduled to be on site on Monday or Tuesday. So we can certainly talk to John tomorrow.
Yeah, 'cause they're gonna be
and
putting up,
find out.
Framework and stuff.
Yeah. So for the opening day, I know their focus now is getting everything out of the common areas, as I reported onto the school committee last night. It's getting the ceilings, the hard ceilings, the grids buttoned up, cleaned up. The units will be in there, but some will not be connected. They may have to come back.
Yeah, they said they would probably have the 2 offices, junior high, senior high offices up and running this week. And then one of the area, I can't remember, I think they're working on the 2 cafeterias. They got that all in, they just put the ductwork in, the insulator was in today, insulated the 2 office areas, the junior, senior high, he was insulating some other areas, he was all over the place, he was going quickly, so.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's done, they put the ceilings up, and so they're basically gonna be putting ceilings up in the junior, senior high offices probably tomorrow. Most of the hallway patches are done, the mod patches, they started painting those today. They put some drop ceilings up in the cafeteria. They put some there. They put all the grid is in the guidance area. All the grid for the drop ceiling is up there. They're moving along. I mean, pretty well. I mean, looks like all the piping for the wiring is in. I don't see them doing all that. They're just going to be pulling wire now. So I think they've got all their pipe piping across to the other side of the building. So I go through it all day, making sure that, you know, I know what's going on, because I gotta clean it.
You're gonna live with it.
And, you know, I'm trying to get that. John is doing a good thing. He's putting notes on the doors as soon as he's out of those rooms, so we can go in and clean them out. We've already cleaned a lot of them, but we have to re-clean, but not deep clean like we did before. So he's being good about that, and that's very helpful. Yeah.
So the concept is, you know, when the students are back, it looks like it did when they left, except for the addition of some ceilings, which are good. And, you know, the work when the units get there behind the scenes, if you will.
It's not going to look like this. It's not going to be shiny until everything is done. And we can start waxing on the weekends, stripping and waxing on the weekends. We've cleaned all the floors, we've washed them all, we've scrubbed them with the machine. It's just a matter of re-scrubbing and re-coating, but we're not going to do that until that's all buttoned up.
Still a lot of guys running around.
The classrooms have all been, they've all been shampooed and waxed and all that stuff, but the hallways, it's just stuff gets dragged, just so. Clean.
Anything else on schedule?
So for the budget, I'll just again share with what I shared the school committee last night. And we completed the bond issue. Again, keeping in mind the $17 million project, $10 million bond issue, and then a $5 million to follow in 22, probably like first quarter of 22, we'll begin that process again. This projected shows you on where I'm hovering here. This is the $10 million bond issue. It was actually an $8.9 million cost to the district because we sold them at a premium, and I'm not going to try and give you a dissertation on the selling of bonds, but basically this gets us $10 million in our pocket or available for us to access. It's in the Bank of New York, and that's who is holding the funds, and we access that vis-a-vis the Bank of New York and the Rhode Island Housing, Education, and Health Education and Builder Corporation. Right back. So the good news is that there's no payment as you scroll across the top in 2022. And then in 2023, we're going to have the $304,000 payment for the bond that we issued for the 10 million. And then when we issue the $5 million bond, we're going to, again, I'm not going to try and school you up on it, but we're going to be capitalizing some of the interest payments. And the goal of the whole project was to get the debt service, total net debt service, in the most right-hand side as low as possible for the local towns in there and the taxing that is affiliated with it. So we had projected in 23 that it would be a $374,000 expense net debt service, total net debt service. It came in at 304. Then we had leveled out at around the $380,000 mark, and we're down to, you know, pretty much over the life of the payments around the $340,000. As the superintendent pointed out at last meeting, what we're showing here is that the base ratio that the district gets So for every dollar we borrow, we get 61 cents back because we're a regional school district. That's set in, it's not legislated, but that's basically the guaranteed shares that are established at the state level. Then through the incentives of part of the $250 billion, $1 million bond that was floated and approved by voters a couple of years ago, there are these available bonus points. And we had them calculated 66%, which would be 5% additional bonus points. We probably feel we can get the magnitude of what, 10 to maybe 15, but definitely 10.
I think 10 to 14. So one is for health and safety items, which are pilot projects. So that's 5 points. The other one is for educational enhancements, the work at the auditorium, lab, science labs, and that type of work. So that's another 5 points. And then school districts like Exeter was pretty much good, an additional 4 points for renovation projects.
So we could be anywhere from the 71 to 75%, which is, just the easiest way to think about it, 75 cents for every dollar we spend. So that will impact the debt service as we go out into the future years and as the superintendent develops his budget. The goal is always to lower the burden to the communities, and the bond market was very favorable for us for this issue, and it looks like it will hold that way again. We'll be just likely going back out in April or May of 22.
Just keep in mind that we also have an increased responsibility towards maintenance and repair by taking this money. So it's not all a give back. You've got to be prepared for that too. And if based upon what was discussed last night, you don't want to go back and ask for more, you've got to start planning on the savings and, pay as you go again when we get done with this.
Correct.
And I'm not talking pay go. We fund additional projects, but we also have to make sure that we build that financial surplus account. I forget what the level is, but I think it's got to be, what do they want, like 5% of your operating budget or something like that? Or
for the maintenance of effort, I think, don't quote me, but I think it topped out at 2.5% of operating. So for just round numbers, $30 million budget, operating budget, they're going to look at 2%, 2.5% of that. So and we meet that.
I thought we talked about this a long time ago. We currently met their obligation.
Yeah, we meet that obligation, but it is something that in lean times you get into. One of the things that Member Kissinger is referencing is, just for historical, and I know I'm repeating myself, but prior to this project, we did just under a $3 million project. Toronto architect walked us through stage 1 through 4. At the conclusion, or at stage 3 of that, the district decided, school committee decided we would self-fund, and we self-funded and did on that projects of just over $3 million. We did just under $2 million worth of projects, self-funding. So using the reimbursements from the state and surplus money that from the various funds that we have available to us, and by making transfers and being really prudent about how we went about the projects. It's become a little more, I think it would be an understatement to say it's become a little more bureaucratic in the requirements that RIDE is having us do. It's going to look a little bit more like the kind of got a few projects under the gate without having an OPM, without having a commissioning agent. And we put in quite a bit of we put in almost $500,000 worth of generators we just did it ourselves, no OPM, no commissioning agent. that probably would not fly again.
You know, we did all that security.
They would require us.
We did all that security work too with,
Yeah.
on our own.
It went fine.
Yeah, it did. It went fine, but the point is the costs around that have gone up. And part of it is so that districts take care of their districts. So
All I'm just cautioning is it's not all going to go back to the community. It will in some form or another, but just got to be careful how we phrase it.
yeah. So just to let's go back to this. So that was the bond update. So we issued the bond. It was painful to some degree, a learning experience to a major degree. And the next two items, pay-as-you-go submittals, we've been receiving them. Downs is processing the requisitions by the GC, the architect, and the PM. They go to they process them, they get everything, all the backup together, send them over to us, superintendent signs off, they get sent to the state. And it's pretty much a quick turnaround, Tish, as far as we're receiving the funds. Yeah. So we'll receive the funds. If I submit it today, probably next week, we will be receiving 61 cents on every dollar that comes back to us. So it's kind of helping us with the cash flow in that aspect. I did ask Downs for a schedule of draws, just so for the cash flow purposes, which was that was the most microscopic document that we had as far as the font goes. But you can see, as we move out through the year, July, we processed $460,000 in requisitions. I guess we've already processed 591. You can see the cumulative totals here, the submittal for PAYGO, and then the balance. So our financial folks are telling us as we get to about this period here, $7 million of draw, which would be May of 22, we should be well in the pipeline for the $5 million bond. So we're going to watch that. I'm pretty confident with this happening, roughly, the $5 million worth of spend by December, because the HVAC project will be done. Significant amount of the OPM work will be done. The commissioning agent will be settled on the HVAC. And then we start moving into stage 3 expenses, Luke, for your firm and for the engineering and everything. And then for the remaining projects, I don't know that we'll be drawing at that rate, but maybe we will. It's not that substantial, I guess. And then here is where we start getting into the remaining projects, which are the roofs, site work, playground, and the parking, and then the classrooms. And it's pretty much a mad rush to December of 22. We're done. So that's a lot. But I think it's a little. And I just, I provided the documents to the folks. When I do that, I'm thinking of as committee members, you're out in the community and people might be asking you, and you want to talk from a position of knowledge. So any questions you have, feel free to email or talk to us if you.
I think we start in the bid submittal process for stuff for next summer.
So as Bob said, we're separating that project into 3 packages. One is the roofs, and we'll bid those directly to roofers. Those drawings are currently being estimated. So once we get that back in a couple of weeks, send that to you, review it, and then submit it to Mike for schematic design. We have to go through the same process that we went through the rooftop unit project. Schematic design submittal, design development, and 60% units. The site work is started, especially the playground and the work that needs to be done. We're waiting on the resolution of the greenhouse, so we can do a site work at the high school. And then the other package is a general contractor's package, which includes the renovations for the auditorium, the science lab upgrade, and a few miscellaneous.
Is the roof a separate package, Lou?
Yeah, roof,
Site
site work, general contract.
and the GC work for,
That's the best value we'll get. Go directly to self-design.
Bidding that in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, I hopefully right at the beginning of the year.
Right, so we're not pushing. The weather.
and that will be shovel ready. Let's hit it once the school adjourns in June of 20. Nothing that we could do prior to. Any interest in that?
Yeah. House, it's outside.
Yeah.
Work on that. Some of the roof she could work on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. You know, instead of anything,
I mean,
anything that shortens the project or you know, gets us away from the opening of school in September of 22 is a good thing.
Does the new greenhouse take the place of the old greenhouse?
No,
we're going to discuss that, I think, shortly.
I mean, location wise, would building a new greenhouse affect the location of the old one? We still have a program to run that uses the old greenhouse until the man's
If
ready.
you build a new greenhouse, you can leave the existing one until.
That's what I'm asking.
it's not at the same location. In stage 2, we located the parking area at the existing greenhouse location. To an optical solar exposure.
Should we just move on and talk about the greenhouse thing?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, so when we start the school year, there's no heat until we get the HVAC installed? Is
The
there
rooftop
hot water?
units?
Yeah.
No, there's baseboard.
There's basement,
Yeah.
okay,
We have to have heat by October 15th. That's the regulation.
so we'll have that and then we
We will
just
have
switch it out,
the same heat we had last year.
okay, as long as it doesn't, yeah,
It'll be exactly like it was last year, basically, because we didn't have any of the heat anyway, so.
I mean, there's upgrades to the existing system with controls and
Right.
battery.
It might
So
be,
forth,
it
so
would
you
probably
know-
be actually better.
Yeah,
Because you have
exactly.
more
When the
control over
project's
a
done,
specific
you'll
area.
have both baseboard and rooftop heating your spaces together.
and is that the same case for the hot water heater as well? What's there will be fully functional?
There's an electric one. The other ones have been disconnected, the existing. There's an existing electrical one that's been, as Steve said, tied into the kitchen now. So the kitchen has their hot water that they need. And then shortly after school starts, the other one should be up. They're scheduled to arrive at the end of the month.
Thank you.
So
That was my concern.
That's what people ask,
Yeah.
that's what they're asking.
Yes.
They
Just want to make sure I have it straight.
figured it out. I mean,
It won't be perfect, but it projects that we'll be able to keep everybody. But if it gets real cold, thanks to our
We didn't have any heat coils last year. We had 2. Rest of the baseboard. So it's not a whole lot different. Not great, believe me.
So this is the existing footprint at the high school aerial view. This was done by Lou and DTEC. Civil engineering. I mean. So here's the gravel parking lot, existing greenhouses here. Do you want to talk or?
You go ahead, I just want to see what you.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is existing. In the next sheet I'll bring up, you'll see the new location of the greenhouse and then the site work that goes. So let's see if I think one of the things that's important is that, you know, while we have some liberty to make adjustments as needed, these were the plans that were approved as part of the stage 3 submittal. And I don't even know what it would mean if we went back and said something different, but let's not cry about built that hasn't built yet. So you can see substantial improvement to, you know, the parking area, the student parking and the faculty parking, egress in and out of, egress from the building to the parking lot, and then the proposed new greenhouse located. So just a little. This whole area here is the science and ag department. So it kind of has a nice flow right to it, back and forth. So that's the new.
Has the location of the greenhouse changed since it was originally for the two towns, such that it's oriented correctly? Because the existing greenhouse and that greenhouse are oriented about 180 degrees apart. Or, no, excuse me, 90 degrees apart.
That the new greenhouse is oriented south.
I don't know.
But I'm not sure that's how they're supposed to be oriented. Because the other one is oriented the way it, that's one of the things that the ag folks that I deal with are screaming about. Is the orientation of that thing.
So
That north in the top right.
that's, yeah, so north,
So north
I
south.
think it's pointing that way.
The north is towards the building, south is away.
But north south is along the line of current greenhouse.
Yes. And I think that that is the correct orientation for a greenhouse.
Well, we welcome any new information. We did a greenhouse at Narragansett High School. We did the greenhouse at the Botanical Gardens. Sparkle is manufactured and something. To our understanding, that's how it's supposed to be.
If the space is full south, you need to use heat cloth if you want to use it in the center because it's too much.
Okay, so this greenhouse has 3 gable roofs.
Yeah.
That
So you can adjust.
open up completely, and they also come with a machine.
Maybe I misunderstood. I just thought you said the long side of the greenhouse was south.
Yes.
It is. The long side is south.
This-
So that
this is
means
the long
one
side here.
side is north. Okay. If you orient it 90 degrees, both sides of the greenhouse are north-south. So both sides full length get full sunshine. And I think that's what the folks that saw this were screaming about after the presentation back a year ago, February, whenever it was.
If it's found that that's the best orientation, that's basically the change of this.
Because that one was put in by the FFA and all the ag folks from this area. And that's how they laid it out. And I think that that is how they want to see it.
very simple change.
Yeah, there's enough room.
I'm pointing it out because
Yeah.
I remember that is a concern.
There's definitely enough room to turn it, and that still gives us the parking area which we need, because plowing that dirt parking lot is destroys our trucks.
So how do we get a final answer on the just to make sure that everybody's if we could communicate with the folks that feel it should be the other way, yeah. Get an expert's opinion on it. Absolutely no issues or
Yeah, I mean, we could reach out to the URI master gardeners or whoever, you know, would be best positioned to answer the question.
Just a quick look on this. It says established standard in the industry is greenhouses should always run east to west.
that's what that is.
Right.
Right.
It's okay.
According to the Google machine, yeah.
I think it's not going to Google.
I was thinking it, but I wasn't gonna say it.
A lot of reference in there.
Yeah.
What, the Google, let me.
To your point, if the professors down at URI say that's the proper orientation, then
And you're done.
then you're done.
I think
And
for
those
the
are
committee,
the
we
folks
want
I
consensus.
think that's a good place to start. That way you can defeat the other argument.
They do have to change it. That footprint would accommodate any direction of it.
Very easy.
Absolutely.
That's not
As long as we haven't
That's a minor.
put the shovel in the ground. Good.
Plenty of room.
So this conversation actually has calmed me down a little bit, because in my head, I was thinking, we have to change the orientation. If that location is going to accommodate that, it messes up the parking scheme. And that's not an issue. So
There's definitely room.
I think if you swing it, it might get a little closer to the building, which isn't necessarily a bad thing either.
No, there's enough room there, absolutely.
all right, so then we're gonna do that, right? We're gonna connect with URI, get an opinion, and if that opinion says this is the right orientation, we go with this. If the opinion is the other way, we go with the other way.
Let's put it this way, you'll have ammunition for when the argument
Yeah.
ensues.
All right, I'm good with that.
Do you want me to communicate with them directly, or does somebody else want to be?
I want no one.
Right that way.
Just to be clear, yeah, I'm bringing it up to avoid the argument. Or at least have bullets.
Lou,
in
do
the
you have
gun
anybody over there that you know, or?
to defend us?
I'm sure I can make a connection.
I work with URI if you need help making a connection.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Sooner rather than later. Like, Lou, what's our time? What's the lead on ordering? Because we're not going,
That is the biggest lead time item we have, because it's made in Holland and shipped. Yeah. So really.
But obviously you want to wrap up the design to get, you know, get it in the ride.
yeah,
We want to go out to bid in January.
So I think the sooner we make the connection, the better.
That's
To have this in our back pocket.
Do you want me to put some feelers out and connect you with somebody?
That would be great.
Okay.
I'll get your contact information.
I think I have it from our email chain. So
Okay, wonderful.
let me do a little digging tomorrow and then.
and that was pretty much, so then the ride submissions is just,
The same process we realized. And I think it's good to do it one at a time. So as soon as the roofs are ready, we'll send that for approval.
Steve, you got any idea around roofing materials? What's that running like? 'Cause I
Yeah,
know-
there's, you know, some issues, but it's starting to trend the other way now. You know, so Lewis and I have done other jobs where we we put it out for bid, have it all lined up, so when Ride gave you the approval, you could award and go. You know, so we could probably arrange the same kind of thing. So if we bid in January or so, you know, get an award, these materials can be ordered ready for spring.
It's standard materials anyway.
It is, the insulation is the problem right now.
The rest of it's standard materials.
We still want to go with asphalt on this?
Asphalt shingles.
Better off with steel.
We can do that and then get it as an alternate.
Let's see what the price is.
All right. Metal. Well, it'll last a lot longer. For one.
You have to really insulate though.
Yes.
The noise and rain. I like it myself personally. Not everybody does.
Like
I have
the
it in my
box
garage. It's awesome. Put you right to sleep.
You thought the HVAC system was too loud.
Actually, I should check with Brian.
I like the sound of the
So
rain.
do I. I think it's awesome. It's awesome.
But all I'm thinking about, you know, let's see, the last time the roofs were done, it was right, they were finishing up, I don't know, 2006, 2007-ish. And here we are 14 years later, and we're looking at roofs again. And it wasn't long after these roofs were put up there that they were already leaking because it was buckets in the hallway. And I would just assume we get out of that. And I mean, the metal roofs these days, I mean, they last. And the complex roof systems that we have around here, anything we can do to mitigate it so that they last in 14 or 15 years again from now. We're not looking at this again. I mean, I got a metal roof in my barn that's been up there for now 16 years, and it'll be there for another 20 without any trouble.
It keeps my guys off the roof. They put 600 shingles on this roof in the last year and a half. Would you?
Doing it, might as well look at it, right?
I'll ask the cost estimator to include price of that.
Well, materials. Get them, the steel roof, is there a problem with that?
I don't know about that.
They're running, I just bought one for a building I built, and it ran about 3 weeks over, so it wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's, you gotta plan. But if we're gonna have this thing bid in January, we've got ample time to have it piled up. But one of the things that I've noticed recently is the metal is a lot less expensive than the asphalt and plywood.
Is it really?
The metal roof pricing hasn't changed that much. I bought some.
Steel pricing is pretty flat. It's been flat for a long time.
I have a question. Does the roof over here include the garage? No,
I don't think we're doing that. We can do that.
since it leaks pretty bad. It's not a big garage. It's like 24 by 24.
And you want to consider metal on that one too?
That would be ideal for that, yeah. You can get us in there. We'll put it.
Is it a heated space? It's not a heated space.
Is it heated space? No. Not yet, anyway.
I think we have another meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Scheduled.
I mean, I would suggest every once a month. And that's what we've done with other towns.
Anyone have anything else?
Next meeting. September 15th, 22nd, or
Either of those is fine with me.
my calendars go that far out.
22nd doesn't work for me.
15th might be better too, it's just because, yeah.
$6 here.
I'm not saying we can be another place, probably.
It'll be determined.
Depends.
It'll be in person.
If it's
but
gonna be cool that week, we can go to the high school.
I'll let the committee know.
P.M. right, as usual.
Yep.